goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Elaine Wolfscroft. So, what are we on now? Episode 5?
49, no, 5, yes.
Yeah.
We're on 5 now.
I was way off.
You're bad at that.
We're on episode 5.
So, 5 strong.
And this is going to be a fun episode, I think.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. So, we'll start off with
A little bit of news.
a little bit of news.
A little bit of
Brian,
news.
what's the big scoop? What's in the electronic papers?
Well, the electronic papers here. We've got one about, it's controversial.
Oh, my
Okay.
favorite.
And it's about this Anti-Vaxx Documentary. You guys heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have heard about
This is
kind of
interesting in all the
interesting.
wrong
I mean,
ways.
it's good that it had the outcome of it being pulled, in my opinion, because it is kind of dangerous, in my opinion. But Andrew Wakefield is the director of a documentary called Vaxxed, and apparently it was scheduled to screen at the Tribeca Film Festival, which is run by Robert De Niro. And yeah, a little bit.
That's his De Niro.
That's your De Niro?
That's it.
Well, it's a brief sampling of his De Niro, I suppose.
But I guess there was some backlash to this documentary filming, obviously, because the argument that Wakefield gives is that vaccines cause autism, which, if you believe that, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're just
No,
going to
I'm-
get it out there. So
No,
kindly
it's true.
perform sex upon your own
Go
person.
fuck yourself. I'm sorry. And if I lose listeners because of that, I'm sorry. I don't want you as listeners if you literally are that dumb that you believe that shit. Okay? But...
I mean, I don't believe it that vaccines cause autism.
Well, nobody with any sense outside of
Right.
singled out there over there,
And-
Jenny McCarthy thinks that.
And the thing is that I didn't know this, but Robert De Niro has a son that has autism.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
Which I'm sure the filmmaker was like, well, Bob, it's because you vaccinated him, idiot.
That's
Oh my God.
if he said that, he would have got punched in the fucking
You
face.
Isn't that the
imagine-
Raging Bull over there?
I just can't imagine saying that. That's
But
crazy.
originally, De Niro was going to let the movie stay. His argument was that he's not going to censor,
okay.
and I get that, and I understand that.
And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the crux of it. This is so difficult for me to wrap my head around, because while I'm right there with you, Brian, this is not only ridiculous and offensive, it's dangerous to make a movie about this. But at the same time, who are we to say that he's not allowed to make this film, that he's not allowed to show his film? It's just such a slippery slope. It's like, especially with documentary, like, where do you draw that line? It's so difficult.
No, I understand that. It hits a bit closer to home just because I'm dating someone who has a son who does have autism.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see that, whereas before we were dating, I was like, oh yeah, those are stupid people. And I kind of had that, but being around this kid and being part of their life and everything, I kind of can get a bit more. I guess you could use the word hostile.
Hostile's okay.
Because it's such misinformation and it's just it does cause more harm. So, but I guess De Niro was more or less in your camp and was going to allow it despite the fact that he does have a kid who does have autism. And ultimately the backlash was so fierce that even he couldn't ignore it and had to pull the film.
Interesting. So was this people contacting like the festival itself and just like speaking out against the movie?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Man,
I mean,
I feel bad for Jim Carrey, who probably got his advance tickets.
well, no, he and McCarthy aren't
Oh, no.
together
Yeah, they're not
anymore.
together. He's no
Hey,
longer
guys.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, he still is drinking.
He's still drinking the Kool-Aid?
Really?
100%. He is anti-vaccine. Even after he stopped taking her to the bone zone.
Taking her to the bone zone. Great. That was perfect.
Oh God. Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's kind of why I'm that way, is because it is a bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's personal for you. I mean, it's personal for everybody. And I think even though I'm not a big fan of like censorship, but like when it's something this polarizing that can cause this much harm, I think it is a safety issue.
I guess the other thing too is I look at it as, this is not necessarily a documentary gets giving you both sides. It is extremely biased.
Yeah.
You could say that all documentaries are biased to some degree.
In the last, I'd say, 20 years, outside of maybe Frontline, do we really get both sides of an issue or argument in any documentary anymore? With the rise of Morgan Spurlock and Michael Moore especially, they become as much cinematic blockbusters as any other film, so therefore they have to be more entertaining than they have to be completely unbiased. So
but I don't see Michael Moore's Sicko, for example, causing harm.
Yeah, well,
if someone were to go ahead and let's say make an anti-Semitic documentary, okay,
that's the thing you said.
Okay, let's say that. Let's say that.
Okay.
And I here's the thing. I'm Jewish. I can say that. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Tim Burton made an anti-Semitic Batman movie.
We did talk about that for Batman Returns, so we already
intense.
But let's say that someone were to make an anti-Semitic documentary. Okay.
Lenny Riefenstahl.
But would you expect that documentary to be playing at Tribeca?
No.
Why?
Because
it causes harm.
Yeah, it's hateful.
It's hateful.
Oh well. All right. Well,
that's kind of where I look at. You could go ahead and say whether you believe that vaccinations cause autism or not.
Right.
The simple fact that you're encouraging people to not vaccinate their kids, which then can basically kill all of us. I mean, these kids could have diseases that we're like, well, we've got cures for that shit. It's called a fucking vaccine. Well, you basically cause it so that these diseases don't go away.
Well, that's why we have measles again now, right?
It is. I know that.
There's a lot of measles now, and that's exactly why.
Polio's coming back, folks. Old school. Well, no, here's a question. Just to play devil's advocate, because I think this is, a very complicated, deep issue. Natural-born killers.
Yeah.
There were a lot of copycat killer people that, were trying to be Mickey and Mallory Knox.
Right.
Is that film dangerous? Should that film be censored? Should that film be stopped from being shown? Should it
no, because that's fictional.
Yeah, and that film is presented as fiction, whereas something like
but it caused danger, and so did this.
But no. What we're talking about is the danger lies in this film being viewed as truth.
I don't, and the other thing too is I don't look at natural-born killers celebrating that. And that's what this documentary does. It's celebrating the anti-vax thing and celebrating the pseudoscience they claim to have.
Right. So, I mean, something like Natural Born Killers is presented to us as a narrative fictional film.
Yes.
Something like this Anti-Vaxx documentary would be presented to us as truth. That's what makes it dangerous.
Right.
No one thinks that Natural Born Killers is real.
And if you do, you're screwed up. Like, you've
or maybe
got some
you've been
issues.
living in a bunker.
And if you think it's real, then man, you must have a bad view of Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, and by the way, completely off the point. I don't want to get too far to the point, but if you have not seen Natural Born Killers, it is one of the top 10 best films of the 90s.
It is. I really do enjoy that film.
Make it an effort to go see that. It's fucking awesome.
All right, guys, you have your marching orders.
Okay. Well, I think that's enough serious talk for tonight.
It was very serious. And what we want to talk about is not at all serious.
No.
Well, let's vaccinate ourselves from this severe topic and kind of go to something a little more lighthearted.
Look at you. Transition week after week.
He is the king of the transition.
This is what our listeners come back for.
This is actually, I'd say this is probably the first entry in what I want to be a continuing segment for the show. And that is what I'm dubbing the Pantheon of Utter Shit. Okay, now
that's what it is.
There you go. We got sound effects now. So these are quite literally the worst fucking movies that are so bad that they're somewhat good.
So bad, but enjoyable.
Yes.
I've seen so many films that I think I actually prefer bad movies now. This is not a joke. My favorite movie of all time is The Room.
Oh God,
It really is. It makes me so sad.
And I'm not talking about the very, very good movie that just came out. I'm
no,
talking
that's a very good version of The Room.
Tommy Wiseau, Wiseau films The Room.
Do you know he actually goes after people who attack his movie?
Yeah, he well, see, this is what makes
It's a piece of art.
so this is what makes a
You're
good
tearing me apart.
this is what makes a bad movie good, guys. So like this is a very simple math equation. The filmmakers have to think that they are creating art and fail, and that's the only way a bad movie is ever good. If they know that it's terrible, or they're doing it with a wink and a nod, a la Sharknado.
Oh God,
it's not as enjoyable. It's not funny.
No, it's
because
not.
they know that they're trying to be terrible. So it has to be something like The Room. In this case, with Troll 2.
Yes,
You
Something
know,
like Sharknado falls more, I think, in kind of postmodernist 21st century grindhouse, which is not bad. It's almost satirical. It fails at it, but it's almost satirical. Yeah, I completely agree that a bad film has to have been intended to be good and to fail horribly. And I know that we're kind of schadenfreuding that, and we're kind of reveling in someone else's failure, but
we're not very nice people. So
we're not nice
sorry
people.
about it.
We're not nice people. Tonight's entry into the Pantheon of Utter Shit is one of my favorites. It is 1990's Troll 2.
1990. I don't know why I thought it was like 88.
Well, it was because it was filmed earlier. That's why.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Now, if you're looking for a Troll 1, there is one, but it has absolutely nothing to do with this. The original Troll 1 actually has Yvonne DiCarlo in it, who was Lily Munster from back in the day.
Yeah.
And that actually has real trolls. Now, here's the fun fact about Troll 2. There are no fucking trolls in this movie.
Yeah, you don't have to have seen Troll 1 either. Don't think you have to watch them chronologically. They have nothing to do with each other.
Really
And
It's kind of like Zombie 2. You ever heard of Zombie 2?
Yes. No, that has kind of a rich, more complicated history than this.
But they were trying.
shameless
But
situation.
in Italy, Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie. So the guy who made
their own
Zombie 2
sequel,
called it Zombie 2.
No.
And that's what they did with Troll 2, which coincidentally also Italian director Claudio Fragazzo.
Who, by the
That's
way,
right.
thinks this movie is brilliant.
He thinks he's a genius. That's what makes it so entertaining.
Yes.
It's so good.
But yes, as Brian said, there are no trolls in this movie. Don't go looking for trolls.
There actually are, in this movie, vegetarian goblins.
And it's just...
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, my God.
so bad.
Wait a minute. Nilbog. It's goblin spelled backwards.
Oh, my God.
My whole world's been shattered.
You have had your mind
And that,
blown.
you know that for the goblins to eat you, they have to turn you into some kind of half-man, half-vegetarian meat paste.
Oh, my God.
And that somehow bologna sandwiches can kill them. No joke.
It's true.
No joke, kids.
It's true. I mean, so there is the film in and of itself, but there's actually a really good documentary about this movie.
Yes, the best worst movie ever made.
And it's so funny because like you get behind the scenes and it's like entertaining but like also sad because the main character, the guy who played the dad, he's actually like a dentist in real life.
He's a dentist, yes.
And this was like the only real film role he ever did, but like that dude loved his 15 minutes. He'll talk to anybody about the film who wants to talk about the film. Like, he seems like such a cool dude, but like it's definitely his like pride point.
Well, he turns into a prick throughout the movie. Like, he starts to when he actually, here's the thing.
He's a little clueless. I'm not sure prick is the word.
Okay, as a horror fan, he turned into a prick because he went to that horror film convention in the movie,
Brian,
and he's
I know
like,
this is where you're going with this.
Where are you going with that?
But I think at that point in the movie, I don't think it had anything to do with the horror fans there. I think he had just literally reached his breaking point and he was ready to snap.
I don't care.
All right, I know. Could as a horror filmmaker be a little sensitive towards that scene?
Yeah, I am. A little bit. I am a little bit. Because he's like, he's criticizing all the other movies around him, and he's like, oh, there's so much gore. None of my movies have gore. Yeah, you got fucking gore in your movie. It's green. Okay?
It's true. It's true.
And
but,
he doesn't quite get that his movie isn't he gets that it's a comedy basically.
Yeah.
But he doesn't quite understand there are other movies out there.
Yeah. Well, too, I mean, what I think is interesting about the documentary is that it's the little boy that is the filmmaker. So, like, the little boy from the film, he ended up doing this documentary, which I thought was cool.
Well, he got the copy of the movie for Christmas. He hadn't seen it, and he put in basically cried, I think, on Christmas morning.
No!
And he's
Yes.
like, it's so terrible, and I'm terrible in it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Poor dude.
Yeah.
Oh, poor little dude.
Yeah, and then you find out that Grandpa Seth apparently is living out in the boons in a pack rat house, and the mom has literally lost her fucking mind.
The mom is Looney Tunes.
She had lost her mind when they were filming.
I mean, to the point where I was like worried about that woman. She seemed insane.
And her mother was still alive.
That was crazy.
Like, that woman must be ancient. But,
all right, well, Brian, why don't you break down what this movie's all about?
All right. So we went off a little topic here, but it's okay. It's okay.
Still on topic.
So Troll 2 is the story of the what's the name of the fucking family? The Waits family. Okay, the Waits family, they are growing tired of city life, and they decide that they're going to do an exchange with a country family, and the country family is from a town called Nilbog, which obviously
quaint little
town. There's only like I think
little hamlet, nicely.
I think there's only 12 people to the entire fucking town, because I think that's all that they could scrounge up to be townsfolk in the movie.
and they're a bit eccentric,
a little bit. And they there's also Joshua Waits, who's our hero in the movie. And he happens to have visions of his grandfather in his room.
I had visions of my grandfather in my room. It didn't. He was still alive. Didn't turn out well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did anyone else find that a little bit weird?
It's a little weird. I think it was weird. John made it way weirder.
Like,
than it needed to
I
be.
was going towards that direction. I mean,
I mean, it did have those kind of.
It's some kind of pervy vibes to it. But you've also got Diana Waits, who that's the mother. And then there's Holly Waits, who, surprisingly, Holly, in the documentary, literally won't acknowledge the movie. She lost so many roles because of this film. She's an actual actress, doesn't want to be in the movie.
It's one of those weird films where it's so bad when it comes out, you don't want to have anything to do with it, any part of it. But then when it becomes years and years and years later, such a piece of pop culture, and just you
can't escape it.
It's almost in cult status, it's actually almost good to acknowledge that you were a part of it.
Yeah.
It can actually help you. At first it cripples your career, and then it can actually be a help years down the line.
The timing is very important, though.
But Holly Waits has a boyfriend, and her his problem just seems to be that he always hangs out with his friends, and apparently Holly's father, Michael Waits, cuts off people's dicks and eats them.
That was really, I mean, all the dialogue was really bad in general, but I felt like her lines were the absolute worst. Especially that part. It was like so graphic and like aggressive.
If you cut off dicks, then you can't piss on hospitality.
There it goes. There it goes.
There it is.
If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. Wait for it.
Yeah. But the whole point is that the family, along with Holly's boyfriend and the group of friends that he brings on, because they somehow think that Nilbog, the country town, has just hot chicks everywhere, which I'm going, really?
It's weird.
It's strange. But they end up going to Nilbog, and while they're in Nilbog, they meet the crazy townsfolk, and they don't seem to talk very much.
It's Fort Lauderdale of the Midwest, I feel.
Yes. And the family that they exchange with, they all kind of don't talk, and the crazy thing is they all have the same fucking four-leaf clover scar on their face. Like, that's supposed to be the signifier of the goblin.
It's a little weird.
They're like the Bloods, with the tear
Yeah. But the point is that through the story you find out that the whole townsfolk are all a bunch of human goblins, and they're all run by an evil goblin queen who can be ugly and hot at the same time. I don't know how she manages to do that.
Goblin queen is pretty great, I'm not going to lie.
I'm not going to lie. When she goes hot, she is pretty hot. I mean...
Well, and just for visual representation, the goblins are like if your mom was making you a Halloween outfit in 3.5 minutes and was blacked out drunk, she might make you something better than the goblins they had in this movie.
Yes. And the point is that they're trying to have the Waits family eat their goblin food, which honestly, their food they're giving them are like the most unhealthy crap ever. Yeah. And they all are green. Like everything has green icing to it. It's like eat me in green icing. And it's just fucking weird.
It's like Nickelodeon came all over their plates.
It's
yes.
really strange. All that slime.
Yeah, and you might be asking yourself, why are they trying to get them to eat this crazy food? Well, I'll tell you why, folks.
And we're glad you asked.
And we're glad you asked, because apparently goblins, despite the fact that they have sharp fucking teeth and sharp fucking claws, apparently cannot digest meat. So they have to have you eat or drink this special elixir shit, or eat the crap food that's green, that has chlorophyll in it, and that turns you into a half meat, half veggie paste that they can suck up, because it's not like they have fucking teeth. And that's how they consume you. So that's pretty much the story of Troll 2. The kid tries to save the day. His dead grandpa pops in every once in a while to cause weird distractions.
As they do.
And here's my thing, too, regarding the grandfather. He can interact with a fire extinguisher, but he can't do anything else.
That's true. I actually didn't think of that.
Well, this is what happens when you're writing a screenplay. You just hire a homeless, like, maniac drifter to kind of sit in the corner of the room. And
they
just
did
start
do that.
Spouting out weird things. It's like, okay, that's in the movie.
The general store guy, that's that. The guy, in the documentary, they actually interviewed him, and he said that he came from the mental institution. He came out of the mental hospital. Crazy. He was not that long out, and they hired him.
God love him.
A good note, too, is that most of these people had never acted before.
Yes.
Or, this is their second or third role, if ever. And they were dealing with an all-Italian crew and an Italian director. There was nobody to translate. Nobody knew what was happening. The script was convoluted and confusing to begin with. And when you mix that with people that have never acted before and a production crew that can't speak the same language as them, you get Troll 2.
You do. And what's interesting is just how fucking terrible it is and how popular it is, too.
Well, I mean, I think with these movies, they're just so universally beloved because there's something about, this Italian director who's a total asshole thinking that he has just achieved some, major artistic success when he's so wrong. I think that's what's crazy about it to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the most part is that people who are into it now, they were kids when this movie came out. Like, for me, I watched Troll 2 when I was about, I'd have to say probably 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
And it was on HBO.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Cool.
It was on HBO. Usually it was on, middle of the day, or it'd be on late at night. It was one of those movies that they needed some fucking filler. And so they threw Troll 2 in there. Huh. But I remember watching it, and I'm just going, they have a Batman poster in the background, and the end scene. And I was like, that's a cool Batman poster. Okay? But along the same lines, I'm like, this movie's fucking terrible, but good. I can't stop watching it. It's like a train wreck in super slow motion, or a car accident. You always slow down and look at the car accident.
That's interesting, because I saw this movie as an adult after the notoriety.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
So you have a childhood connection with it, Brian.
Yes,
obviously,
I do.
I was like, oh, joy, because, I knew it was going to be terrible, and it didn't disappoint. It's right there with The Room, Mac and Me, Birdemic.
Mac and Me.
Oh, Mac and Me.
Mac and Me.
Oh, God.
I regret sobriety.
Yeah, but, so do you guys have any favorite parts of this movie? They're, so bad, you're just like, oh, God.
I like when Holly's working out in her room, in the
What's
very
with the
early
hand
part.
thing?
It's so
she
good.
does this whole mask thing
It's
and
so
dance
hilarious. Yeah, no, I don't know, man, but it makes me so happy.
I like Mancorn when the guy
popcorn.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't turn to. Does he turn to popcorn?
Well, at first corn,
they have popcorn sex.
Popped. Yeah, it was some popcorn sex.
Yeah,
which is it is what it is.
It's the best kind of sex right there.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
But what's funny is with that particular scene, you could tell that literally people were off screen with buckets of popcorn, just throwing it at him.
They didn't have a lot of money on this film. That was very clear.
We spent it all on green slime and some bad troll masks. So literally, this is it, guys.
It's true.
I don't know how they could have had so little money, because you look at one of the greatest movies of all time, Night of the Living Dead. They had no money, but you really couldn't tell.
But you were helmed by someone who knew how to make films, you know?
Right,
It makes
but
a difference.
you look at like the farmhouse they had in that, and you know, it wasn't a situation where they just went and the whole place was decorated perfectly and they said, fine, you know, go with it. They built that top to bottom set design, everything in there. And you look at something like Troll 2, when he's taking his kid to bed because he's peed all over dinner, like there's nothing on the wall. It looks like a cardboard
That's
set.
because they quite literally just got a house. They didn't furnish it. They didn't put anything in there. They put a table and chairs, and that's it.
Yeah,
you even have the names written on the wall with like just a piece of paper on the wall, and that's it. I mean, it quite literally, there was, and I get the idea. Like, if you watch a documentary, which honestly, to watch this movie, you have to watch the documentary with it, just to kind of get an idea of how.
Is it better to watch it before or after?
You gotta watch the movie first.
You gotta watch the movie
knowing
first.
that you have the documentary to look forward to.
Yes.
And then the documentary makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how you gotta do it.
That is true. But, I mean, it goes to the same point that, the director really wanted to make a movie about family. Like, that was his vision, was that the movie was supposed to be about the family.
This is it?
And the strength of the family against adversity. I'm going, okay, if that's and that's what I'm calling bullshit on it too. Okay? Because if that really was your idea, then why the fuck did you have the goblins eat the mom at the end?
Right? That doesn't
That
fit
makes
in with family.
no fucking sense.
It's like
I know that's supposed to be the aha, gotcha.
Yeah, it's that classic
moment.
horror movie trope. Like, spoiler alert here, but if you haven't seen Freddy vs. Jason to this point, like, then go fuck yourself. But at the very end, Jason's carrying Freddy's head at the end of the fight, and Freddy gives a little wink, and then it goes to the credits. Like, there's that little, well, we're open for sequels, or with that gotcha quick moment that ruins the whole movie.
Well, it also ruins it because the title is Freddy versus Jason. And that basically says no one fucking won.
Yeah.
It's true.
They even with that movie, they did a whole like we're gonna weigh in and publicity bullshit and all that sort of thing, and then it's just like, yeah, really, no one won.
I mean, those
Everyone
movies,
lost.
those
Everyone
movies
lost.
really bought Robert Englund all his houses and cars. But I'm sure when he was in Vegas doing a weigh-in on that, he was like, "What did I do with my life?"
So this is where did my life go wrong? Was it at?
I was in V. You guys remember when I was in V?
Was it at the Phantom of the Opera movie I tried to make, or was it at 976 Evil when I tried to direct it? I mean,
Ooh.
was it the
Good
Stephen
mention.
Jeffries actor? It might have been, but yeah, like Troll 2 is so fucking bad.
I mean, the whole
so many
premise is like
levels.
completely absurd, but I think the failure is definitely the execution. The
Yeah.
directing is so bad, like we talked about. The art direction is so bad, but like Brian said, like there's just something about it. Maybe it's just the disbelief that it could be this bad, but it's just you can't stop watching. You have to continue. It's crazy.
Well, there are certain scenes that are just so unbelievable that you won't, if you see.
What
it for the
scene?
first time.
What's one scene you can think of?
I would say popcorn fucking
Pop-
is one of them. All the scenes in like that lair where
Oh yes,
the Goblin Queen's
the Goblin
palace.
Queen's
any
palace.
scenes where the the goblins are involved are incredible. But the thing about this movie is, even if you only saw the scenes that didn't have the I can't believe what I'm looking at things, you would still say there's something wrong with this movie.
There's just something wrong with the people in it. Like
the people, the art, the backgrounds, the art direction.
Like I automatically think of the scene where Arnold, the nerdy guy, he's in the fucking woods and he finds the girl who's already drank the green shit. And she's in the midst of turning into, green meat goo. And one, I find it funny that the symptoms of turning into green meat goo is you've got green shit on your forehead. Okay, so that's how it starts. Okay, but he finds her and she's being traced by the goblins, and this is the first time you really see them. That isn't a dream, for example. And he doesn't freak out that he's talking to goblins.
Right.
Like he's like, hey, back the fuck away. Wink, wink. I'm gonna get with this girl who's got green shit on her forehead, and then of course he gets they'd say kill him, and they're gonna go kill him. But
yeah,
like it's the common sense, and then like the kid who's running around and he's offered milk and he drinks the milk, and it's just like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the premise is so absurd anyway, but just the failures are so numerous. Like that's what kind of makes it compelling, though.
Yeah, how can you get everything wrong? How can you have made this movie in the first place? Like, who was behind this? Who wanted it to be made? Who agreed on this script? Who agreed on this final edit?
So
who agreed to say, okay, cut that? We're keeping that one. Everything about it is just a mystery.
Well, what's funny too is, I mean, I know for me, I think about it okay, this is an Italian guy's interpretation of American life.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like if I made an interpretation of Italian life.
But
like,
but there are
pizza.
But there are successful versions of this though. Look at westerns. There's a reason why we call them spaghetti westerns, because it's Italians' version of what they think our westerns are, and they work.
True.
But this guy.
Well, I mean, I don't think the failure is necessarily because he was Italian. I think it's just because
I think it's just he's just not a good filmmaker. Exactly. But I think it's just
this goes beyond being not a good filmmaker. Zack Snyder's not a good filmmaker.
I was being nice.
This is
my thing.
Disastrously horrible filmmaker to have made something. Maybe he's the greatest filmmaker of all time, because you have to almost be talented to make something this bad.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not one of those movies that anybody can debate. Like, some people love Signs. Some people think it's a god-awful train wreck.
And not Shyamalan.
Yeah, and I fall under that it's a god-awful train wreck. But, some people, there are fans of that movie. Nobody is... I mean, they could be a fan of Troll 2 because they like how bad it is, but nobody is going to come out and defend it and say, oh, guys, she's pretty good.
Yeah, no one can defend this movie.
Yeah. No, there's none. I mean, but then again, it's the same thing with like Plan 9 from Outer Space or any of those Ed Wood movies is,
Got the Ed Wood box set over there.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We love those movies despite the fact they're god awful.
Again, because Ed Wood really believed in what he was doing and he failed.
Even as titty films, he believed in those movies.
Agreed.
Ed Wood loved him some titties. He liked putting in fake titties.
Yeah. But I mean,
was he Glenn? Was he Glenda?
Like I said, I really recommend checking the movie out first.
Yeah.
And then checking out the documentary, because it'll make sense and you'll have the documentary to look forward to, because the movie's hard to get through.
It will be the way to do it.
I passed out watching it again, by the way.
That's the best way to do it. Your body knocked you out. It was like
my body was just like, you seriously going to subject us to this shit?
Your body gave up. It's okay.
It's like when you have so much stress that you just faint, that your body just took you out of it.
Done.
Yeah, the documentary's second, because you're going to have a notepad full of questions, and the documentary's going to answer a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to be baffled by this.
It's true. It's so true.
And then the best part of the documentary, at least I thought, was they went and they actually brought the director to one of those like screenings of Troll 2, and he was pissed off.
Oh yeah,
he was furious. He's like, what do you mean you don't like my movie? It's the greatest movie ever. Why are you laughing? That's not funny, Yeah.
He was the only one not in on the joke.
He didn't get it. He just didn't fucking get it. And I think like another director like Ed Wood, for example, would have said, they bought the tickets.
He'd have been so happy that like
he would have been happy that people cared.
What I mean? Like, I don't know. That's the impression I get of Ed Wood. He'd have been like, you guys want to see my movie? Like,
and I mean, I still say that, and this kind of goes off topic. I still say that Ed Wood would have been successful had he been alive in the current time. My theory, my thinking is that he suffered so much with funding his films and having to go through the studio system. Because you got to remember, at the time that he was making these films, it was right before the big indie craze that happened in the 60s and the 70s. Okay,
late 50s.
It was
too.
late 50s, so
Yeah.
this is right in the middle of the Hollywood system.
Right around when Jimmy Dean came around with
Yes.
his red jacket and was being torn apart.
But my thinking is that had he been either alive when they were making these, the indie films in the 70s and that sort of time, or if he had been alive now with the advent of social media and the time, think of how many crappy horror movies we see nowadays that get distribution though, and they do make some money back. I mean, they didn't have the Walmart bargain bin back then, and they didn't have Netflix, they didn't have Vimeo or any of these other platforms. It's easier now for an Ed Wood or even Claudio Fragasso. If he had made Troll 2 now, I think it'd be on the fucking Sci-Fi Channel.
That's true.
Oh yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking that when you were saying that, like Ed Wood would be directing Sharknado 4.
Yes. Yeah.
You wouldn't know why everyone thought it was funny.
Tara Reid would be reprising her role, more drugged out than the last time. There's sharks everywhere.
Yeah. Did she not open her mouth like that either?
No. It's really bad.
Sharks.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is the solid entry into the Pantheon of shit,
Yeah.
of utter shit. But definitely like a recommendation. We'll probably review other movies where I'll be like, no, don't fucking see it.
What would you call this one? Like, if we were gonna pick a god for it, which one would we make this?
Let me think. Are we
Okay.
gonna do?
I'm saying it's
mythology?
open to. You can go into Norse if you want to.
Oh, look at you.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me think here. Do you have any recommendations, John?
See, I thought you were gonna say this is the Citizen Kane of bad movies. This is the Casablanca of bad movies.
No, we're not there yet.
Yeah, you gave me something that's not really in my wheelhouse. So let's see.
This is more your wheelhouse, because you're.
So let's see. I would say. I feel like we need to like find the, the
Zeus.
I mean, I
wouldn't call this one a Zeus.
No.
I'd say he's definitely
Zeus is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Very
yeah,
aggressive.
Zeus is kind of a dick. I mean, for this one, I would say like. I mean, this movie kind of could be Thor because I'm. Thinking,
that's what I was thinking was a
I'm
Thor.
thinking like this is all about vegetarians and like plants and like. Thor was called upon in the old times to like look over crops, so I'm trying to get it on.
You're
like,
trying to
theme
actually
that way.
See, I was
I'll back you up on that
going with like Thor's kind of like he's popular, He's not quite as popular as Odin. He's not a high god,
Right.
But he's not quite as mischievous
Odin.
as like a Loki,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say a Thor.
A Thor. I feel.
I think it's a solid Thor.
Thor, definitely.
So
you agree?
3 whores.
3
Did I
whores.
say whores? I meant Thors.
Thors.
3 whores.
So yeah, so look forward to this series, guys. We're going to be doing a number
Yeah, definitely.
in the Pantheon of Utter Shit, and this is definitely where we want your recommendations. I know I haven't seen every bad movie there is out there, so get at us on Facebook. If you want to shoot us an email, just let us know your recommendations of, oh my god, this movie's so bad, you have to see it.
Because
That's what we want.
we've seen our share of bad movies, but there might be some out there that we haven't heard of.
So true.
And in the tradition of bad movies and them being very confusing as hell, look forward to part 3 of this soon. We're just going to skip part 2, so you're going to be like, where did it go? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
didn't download them all.
Or it could be the Leonard Part 6,
Oh.
Yeah.
Which was a bad movie in and of itself before we all realized that it was a giant rapist.
Yeah. So before I close this out, do you have anything going on with Super Serials that you want to...
Just listen to my book podcast.
Yeah, no upcoming episodes.
We're pushing like 40 episodes now,
Wow.
so we'll have our anniversary pretty soon here. I'm just still plugging away at that, and if you like middle grade serialized fiction and me also saying bad words and shitty things, Super Serials is the podcast for you.
Awesome. As we just said, please be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at Psycho Show. If you have a favorite movie that you would like us to review or question you want to throw at us, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow@gmail.com. And be sure to subscribe to catch our next show, available every Friday.
Catch you next time, guys.
Okay.
Good night. I love you.
And good night from Nilbog. Goblin spelled backwards.
Holy shit.